Well, it finally happened. Donald Trump made good on one of his oldest promises: massive, sweeping tariffs on nearly every country on the planet, 92 nations to be exact. Some hit with 15% tariffs, others with nearly 40% tariffs. Laos, Switzerland, Syria, you name it. I'm sure that remote island with penguins got hit with tariffs too. We will have to check on that, but no region was spared. And just like that, the rules of global trade have been rewritten. For the United States and for the world, this isn't just a policy shift, it is a fundamental break from a system that has governed global commerce since World War II, a system that was built on tearing down trade barriers. And that system is now being recast in Trump's image: arbitrary, quite aggressive, and deeply protectionist. But think about it. These aren't carefully negotiated trade measures. They're not even consistent. They're punitive, scattershot taxes levied on allies and on adversaries alike. Canada, for example, a country that has had free trade with the United States for decades, suddenly woke up to 35% tariffs. What is the official reason, you would ask? Well, it is a fentanyl seizure at the border. And by the way, if you're in the United States, how has the US government addressed this issue under Biden and under Trump? What have they done? What was the result, if any? What's the outcome? Comment below, let us know your thoughts on that. Now, with respect to Canada, there was a single incident representing just 0.2% of total US fentanyl inflows. It was used to justify trade punishment. That is not policy, it is retaliation. And here's the important part: these tariffs may not even be legal. Trump used a little-known Carter-era emergency powers law to bypass Congress and to impose these duties. But one federal court already ruled these moves illegal back in May, and another court is currently reviewing it. A trip to the Supreme Court seems inevitable at this point, and even if these tariffs get struck down, which they likely will, Trump's team has other dusty legal tools from the 1930s that they're ready to pull out. And no, this isn't anti-Trump, this is not anti-the United States. This is pro-reason, pro-common sense to question what is going on with our economic policy. After all, the entire world is in pure shock. It has been for 7 months now, but also the entire world is now using these policies to accelerate new partnerships in the global south and to speed up de-dollarization. But legality aside, the damage is already real. It has already been done. Before the August tariffs wave, US duties were already at their highest level since the Great Depression, believe it or not. And now they're even higher. Analysts at Yale estimate that new tariffs will cost the average US household $2,400 per year. What about GDP growth, you would ask? It is now slashed by 0.5 percentage point. How about those new jobs? 500,000 jobs are expected to disappear. That's right, disappear. And last month's jobs report already shows that trend. Just 73,000 jobs created, with earlier numbers revised downward. Business investment is slowing, consumer spending is dipping, confidence is falling. There's no denying that. This is not the art of the deal. This is economic self-harm. And yet, Trump's team argues that this is strategic. Rest assured, it is meant to secure better trade deals in the future. So let's examine that. The United States has signed a handful of new trade agreements with the EU, Japan, South Korea, and the UK. But dig into the details and you know what? They're mostly empty shells. Vague commitments, non-binding frameworks, wildly unrealistic goals. Take the EU, for example. I have an entire video on that. The United States says that Europe will boost energy imports from America to $250 billion per year. Reality check, last year, they bought $64 billion worth of energy from the United States. Now, going from $64 billion to $250 billion in less than 4 years, that is a fantasy. Also, von der Leyen walked back her promises that she made to Trump several days after their meeting. Then there is Japan, of course. Trump claims that Japan will invest $550 billion in the United States, with most profits supposedly flowing back to America. Japan, understandably, is quite confused. They weren't expecting that announcement. Their officials say that these are loans, not investments. Those two are different things. So Japan told Trump that Japan would give Trump some money as a loan, not as an investment. And of course, the United States would have to pay back that loan. Loans are liability, they're not an asset to a borrower. Meanwhile, Taiwan didn't make any new promises. They are now facing 20% tariffs across the board, and likely more to come. Even U.S. allies who try to play ball are being penalized for reasons that shift by the week. And for countries that didn't get to negotiate anything, well, they're stuck with numbers that seem pulled from thin air. Switzerland's 39% tariff? No explanation. India's 25% hike, partly due to the collapse of summer trade talks, partly due to continued oil imports from Russia. Yes, secondary tariffs are now a real threat. Penalties for doing business with countries that the United States doesn't like. And here's the irony in all this. Trump's obsession with tariffs is based on a flawed understanding of trade, of economics. He's trying to fix the U.S. trade deficit, something economists have said for decades, that it's not an issue. This is not a problem. It is not. The United States buys more than it sells. Yes, that is true, but it doesn't mean that the country is losing. Trade deficits reflect investment flows, consumer demand, and the strength of the US dollar. Trying to eliminate them through tariffs is like trying to fix a fever by smashing the thermometer. So what's really going on here? Trump isn't just using tariffs to fix trade. He's using them to reshape America's economy and to possibly fund it, since the US economy is quite literally on its deathbed, with national debt surpassing $37 trillion. Interest costs are now above $1 trillion per year to service that debt. Deficits are rising. There is, of course, a slowdown in consumer demand and a decrease in output. Oh, and by the way, Congress just passed new legislation that locks in massive fiscal deficits. The government needs money. Tariffs raise money. And right now, with Congress sidelined, the executive branch can do it unilaterally. And that is the scary part, because even if the courts strike down some of these tariffs, the precedent is there. A future president, any president, could invoke the same laws, the same logic, to impose broad taxes on imports, no matter what Congress says. Is that democracy? Is that constitutional? That's what we should be questioning right now. This isn't just a Trump thing anymore. It could be baked into US economic policy for years to come. So what does that mean for the world? It means even more unpredictability. It means even more volatility moving forward. A global trading system built on decades of rules is now being replaced by improvisation and impulse. It means businesses won't invest, jobs won't be created, alliances will fray, and yes, other countries will retaliate and quietly shift away from deals with Washington. Quietly or overtly, they will start building systems and supply chains that bypass the United States. It's already happening. In the long run, this may be the most dangerous consequence of all, because once global trust is lost, once partners stop believing that the United States is a reliable player on trade, it is not easy to get that trust back. Deals can be rewritten, markets can recover, but trust, that is a whole different animal. That takes time, and in global trade, time is money and influence. So the next time someone tells you that tariffs are just a tool or a negotiating tactic or a way to level the playing field, remember this: Trump didn't just use tariffs, he made them the cornerstone of US foreign and economic policy. And the rest of the world is now scrambling to adapt. The global trading system, as we knew it, may be gone already. And what comes next? Well, that depends on whether countries continue to react or they start to push back. Let me know your thoughts on this. Are they going to continue reacting, or will we see more of a pushback? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye for now.